people's healing is at God's pace and as they interact with the Spirit of God and then surrender to truth and are willing to look at lies. But it took her a while to do that. She's an unusual character and the story is unusual, but I think that readers will see themselves in this story or someone they know.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Writer's Day podcast. My name is Ruth Douthit. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for listening. I know you have a plethora of writing podcasts to listen to, so I'm honored that you're spending some time with me today because I created this podcast for you so that you can listen to amazing, best-selling authors like my guest today. As they talk about their writing journeys and how they create their stories, you're going to be inspired to keep writing your book. And that's why I started this podcast. So welcome. And if you like what you hear, please consider subscribing. I'm on YouTube now. Follow my channel. Leave a review. Let me know what you think of A Writer's Day. I'd love to know. And head over to my website at artbyruth.com to sign up for my newsletter. Remember, I give away a book every month, and sometimes it's the books of my guests on my podcast. And so sign up to find out a little bit about me, my upcoming projects that we'll be releasing this fall, like book 3 in my Love and Romance in Italy series. So head over to artbyruth.com today. Her novels, Sugarbirds and Leaning on Air, have won more than 24 industry honors. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Cheryl Grey Bostrom is here with me today. She is an avid birder and nature photographer living in rural Washington State. And so all of her stories are set there. And you are in for a treat today as she talks to us about What the River Keeps, her new book. So you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to Cheryl Grey Bostrom talk about her new book. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm super excited to be talking with Cheryl Bostrom again. Welcome back, Cheryl.
Thank you, Ruth. It's good to see you and have a chance to chat a bit and catch up.
Yeah, and speaking of catch up, why don't you tell us what you've been up to this year so far? We're halfway through 2025. Can you believe it?
I know, it's lightning pace, I tell you. Well, I have, we wrapped up and have been working, on of course, the production with Tyndale of this new book. And then I started another one, which is another Pacific Northwest nature novel, women's contemporary fiction. And I had 2 false starts on it. I started the story too early, and it's a dual timeline set in the late 1800s and then 2023. But it's on a roll now, and I'm just intrigued by the research that I'm uncovering. And so we'll see where it goes. It's not going to be out, on the 1-year mark like the last few, but I think it will be very engaging. I hope so. And it's got a mystery thread in it and another love story, and then of course a lot of the natural world. This time with some wildlife that I think readers will just love. So.
Very nice. Have you written dual timelines before?
I haven't, and so I'm learning.
Yeah.
But it seems to be, they seem to be dovetailing. They're weaving quite beautifully. So I'm happy about that.
Oh, great. Wonderful. So I think it's good for us writers to try something new to kind of stretch our writing muscles. Did you find that the challenge kind of helped you?
I'm always experimenting. And so to do that and then to enter, an historical period, there are a lot of things when you're writing anything historical that you just can't take for granted. And so the type of research is different. And I'm more comfortable writing contemporary fiction, but it's just because I'm not as familiar with writing historical. Although What the River Keeps has an historical component to it, and so I kind of eased into it gradually, I guess.
Well, Well, yes, let's talk about what the river keeps now. Tell us about this new story.
Okay, well, for a little bit of background, I was raised on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, and it's a very rugged, wild peninsula, the center of which is largely consumed by the Olympic Mountains and then Olympic National Park. And there are these magnificent rivers that are steep and fast and flow either into the Pacific or into the Strait of Juan de Fuca, depending on where the, you know, where their point of origin is. But there's a river there called the Elwha River, and it's 45 miles long and it runs into the mountains. And 85% of it is in Olympic National Park. And in 1910, a Toronto entrepreneur came in and bought up much of the Elwha Valley, where these very precipitous canyons were, but they were natural reservoirs, and he dammed the river 5 miles from its mouth. And then a few years later, there was another dam built upstream, but it destroyed this tremendous fish habitat, and um, fish runs that could reach 1 million salmon a year were decimated over the subsequent decades. So in 2010, those dams began to come down through an act of Congress, actually. And so the story is the story of the resurrection of this ecosystem as backstory. But the primary storyline is about this reclusive fisheries biologist named Hildy Nybo, who gets a lead job on this river restoration. And she returns home to the Elwha Valley, where she has a haunted set of memories that don't make any sense, and she thinks she's losing her mind. And so because of that, she's become very isolated. She keeps um, meticulous diaries and holds on to keepsakes just so that she can record her days, because she doesn't believe um, that her memories are authentic. And so she meets a guy, the river, the dams come down, and Hildy is able to untangle this mysterious past. And there's a thread of unseen spirits in the novel, which remind us that there is activity in the spiritual realm
Mm.
always, paralleling the visible realm we're living. And there's also a tribe in there that was um, really held captive by these dams until they were released. And I had some fantastic stuff that I uncovered during research of this tribe as well. So it's a story about the breaking of generational strongholds and
Mm.
how truth really does set you free. And then as the story unfolds, you realize that what she has to forgive is humanly unforgivable, but the freedom that this tribe finds through forgiveness and that she finds through forgiveness are really pretty breathtaking. And I love the ending. I love the resolution of this story so much that I still read it and am brought to tears as if I didn't write it. And in a way I didn't, because this experience when we're writing these stories, as the Lord gives us ideas and as these characters become fully dimensional and take on their own lives, they do things that we hadn't planned for them to do. And so
Mm.
I feel more like an observer or like a scribe as this story unfolded. But it was really instructive to me, very hope-giving, and really a reminder that no matter how dark a stronghold is, whether it's, a familial pattern or the other things that hold people captive, that those strongholds can fall, and they can fall in the most remarkable ways. So it takes readers into the reaches of the Olympic National Park and down this magnificent river, and then into this, the inner life of Hildy. And I like it. I like the story.
Mhm.
I still really like it, and I hope readers do too. And they will never guess. Early readers, nobody's been able to guess what is uncovered at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, you have an idea early on who's the perpetrator here, but it goes places you anyway. I love it that it can be a surprise that they haven't figured out.
Yeah, exactly. That's wonderful. What came first? Was it the knowledge that you had about this fishery, or was it the story and then you did research about it?
I always start with setting, And all of my novels are set in the Pacific Northwest. I figure I'm going to be spending at least a year there. And as a nature photographer, I'm always watching the natural world for what it has to say about the human condition and about the character of God. And once I've chosen that landscape and I look at what's gone on in that landscape, then my characters take shape consequentially. And it's worked. I mean, it's just my process. And so I'm introduced to these characters really as they emerge from the setting. And so it was just a natural for Hildy to go home to the Elwha. And, I was raised 7 miles from there. My granddad used to take me, out along that river and just talk to me about, the natural world and the ecosystem there. Uh, and so I have a real fondness for that area as well. And so to be able to plant characters in areas I love really is a passion of mine.
Mhm. And you do such a great job describing it. It really makes it come alive. And
Mhm.
also, you have a mystery in there. Did you set off to do that at the start, or did that come to you as you were plotting?
It came to me, more of it came to me, and that was really thrilling because I wanted Hildy to be an unreliable narrator because she has been living a lie. She doesn't know herself well. She doesn't understand her family patterns. She doesn't understand what she is like as a human being in the image of God because she had that shut down pretty early. And so I think my original intent was to have Hildy be an unreliable narrator, but to have the readers know and be able to know what was happening, even though she didn't.
Mhm.
But as the thing developed and as the lie grew deeper and the power of the unseen world to influence that lie grew, then the mystery arrived big time, and it was really fun.
Well, tell us about Luke, this character.
Okay, Luke he was originally a commercial fisherman, and he has suffered a tremendous tragedy with his own family that really changed him. He ran a troller fleet, and then he had a sport fishing boat as well. And sport fishing and then commercial fishing up in that area, um, is a common occupation. But he would travel to high end restaurants and sell these troller caught wild fish. And while he's gone on a trip, something happens to his family that changes him forever. He's really been kind of into himself, and he's loves his family, but he's brought them along, with really self-centered interests. Well, after his experience, he is radically changed, and he's hauled back from the brink by people who love him and really reconnects and connects in a brand new way with what he calls a tsunami god who raises the dead. But it changes his discernment. While Hildy can sense dark spirits and unseen spirits, Luke has experienced them, but he has also mightily known this tsunami god, that as he calls it, and he's all in. And so when he meets Hildy, she doesn't want anything to do with men. She's very skittish. She's very secretive, and there's just something off about her because she thinks she's going crazy, and yet she's this brilliant biologist who's going to head up one of the biggest, the biggest uh, dam demolition and river ecosystem healing in history. But the Lord has grown in him through his own tragedy, this tremendous patience, and he guides her through and into the untangling of this lie, knowing that he can't do it for her. And that's something that has been a profound lesson in my own life is that you can see people who are hurting or people who need healing or who need to grow. And you think if you just tell them what to do, or you think that if you just say, well, this is what it is, that of course they're going to pick it up. Well, no, 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 no. It doesn't happen like that. People's healing is at God's pace and as they interact with the Spirit of God and then surrender to truth and are willing to look at lies. But it took her a while to do that. She's an unusual character, and the story is unusual. But I think that readers will see themselves in this story or someone they know. Not in the same circumstances, of course, but undergirding it all is this tremendous hope and this understanding that the creation is made to heal, just as we as human beings, as part of that creation, are made to heal. And that a lot of that healing comes through forgiveness that we may not like the idea of at first, that we may chafe against, but when we reach that place where we can really release our circumstances and trust God's purpose, um, amazing things happen. And of course, I don't proselytize in these books. It's all shown, and you just watch what she does and watch what Luke does and watch what happens in the created world, and you discover principles of life and principles of the way things are designed, from trees to fisheries to salmon swimming upstream and dying for their spawn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm,
it's
very
it's a it's a
poignant.
layered story, but I hope people just immerse themselves in it.
You have these themes of forgiveness and hope. What other themes do you want readers to take away from this story?
Well, I think the fact that creation is created with healing in it, and you
Mm-hmm.
look at Christ's whole plan for humanity, and it's to heal us and to bring us home, and um, and that's mirrored in the natural world. If you look at nature, oftentimes we think of it as static, beautiful, and lovely settings that we like to go visit. And for some obscure, vague reason, we feel good when we're in the natural world. But it's so much more than that. Like all the principles of growth and healing and even the seasons, the season of death and stillness, and then the season of renewal and the season of fertility and reproduction, and then the waning is all illustrating God's word, all of it. And as we learn to see that, um, we can be more connected both with ourselves and with our communities and with this gorgeous earth that will be made new someday. And I think we have a lot more hope that when awful stuff happens, we know that this is temporary. And so, yeah, there's a lot of hard stuff that happens in this story, but there's this undergirding of tremendous, breathtaking hope that I hope readers emerge from it with a sense that if these dams can fall, and if this ecosystem can heal, and if Hildy can heal, then so can we.
Oh, it's beautiful. And I completely agree. And when you said that a lot of people feel that nature is static, I was thinking, oh boy, not true. I've been in the bottom of the Grand Canyon when we got hit by a flash flood. So
Oh, you have. Oh,
we've seen
well,
how quickly nature can change. And we're talking seconds, not hours. We're talking it changed immediately. And you're right, it mirrors what can happen in our lives too.
right. And
Tragedy, trauma, right? It happens in a
exactly.
second. Hmm.
Exactly. And then, so many people are tempted to say, so where was God? Where was
Yeah,
he?
that's
Is there
true.
really a God that cares? And yet, tragedy to me, as awful as it is, tragedy has expanded my understanding of God as loving. Because if he will allow even that, or even this, or even some other monstrous thing, if he allows it, you know that he can overcome it completely. Not just with an ice cream cone, he's going to make it new, or he can make it new. And so it just makes me trust his sovereignty and his power all the more. And I think that when we are able to experience tragedy, even if it's vicariously through books or difficult circumstances, challenges, when we're able to do that and experience it and go through it with the practice of trust undergirding it, we become more resilient. We understand our creator better. We're better able to navigate our relationships. And that's my prayer, I guess. So in addition to even just recognizing the themes in a headspace, that there will be a visceral, experiential connection with the whys and the hows and the whats of God working through a broken world.
I love that. Well, What the River Keeps releases August 12th, which sounds far away, but really it's not. It's just a
Oh,
few days away.
uh,
And so folks can pre-order it right now on Amazon.
yes, all over. It'll be anywhere.
Great. And so what do you have coming next?
Well, just that the story that I hope develops as I'm working on it, which is set in the San Juan Islands and involves some foxes and a girl who is escaping a situation with some a pretty tough father in it this time, that who really doesn't hear her or know her, and so she escapes this fox farm in Alaska um, and begins a new life. And of course, there's a love story in it, but it's a dual timeline. And the second part of the story, which I'm still developing, has an aged grandmother whose family is really wanting to sell her property and move her with them, but she has an idea in mind and she's going to take a grandson with her.
Mm,
And and it loops all back around to a lot of these a lot of wildlife in their story as well, and a lot of coming of age exploration for this grandson. And then the stories dovetail as she returns to the site of this original homestead. So that's how it's taking shape yet. The story's still young and that could sure change, but I like it
yeah.
and I'm intrigued by it, and I'm uncovering stuff in the research that really is going to make some of these, some of the interior of the novel quite fascinating.
Yeah. Sounds like another layered story.
I hope
But
so. I hope so.
that's what's great. It draws your readers in. And you're so good at that. You're so good at layering, creating these amazing characters that really capture our attention. And we find something in them that, mirrors our own life experience. So well done.
Thanks, Ruth. I'm excited because, I'm writing for Tyndale, and these are, this is Christian fiction, but it is crossing into the general market as well. And
Mm.
trade reviewer Kirkus just gave What the River Keeps uh, a starred review, and then put it on their best
Uh,
Indies books of June list. So that puts it
Wonderful.
into a hopefully where it brings the message into a different population as well. So anyway,
Yeah.
I hope your readers love it. I hope it captures them, and that
Of course they
yeah.
will. Of course I love it. How can they get a hold of you? Do you have your website, your newsletter?
Sure, sure. CherylBostrom.com, and it's CherylBostrom.com. And I'm also on Substack, and you can put my full author name in there, Cheryl Grey Bostrom, and you'll see a lot of my nature photography and book musings and book giveaways. And I'm on all the socials. But if you write to me, I'll always write back.
Oh, that's great. So listeners, be sure you contact Cheryl, let her know what you think of What the River Keeps and encourage her. And boy, do we look forward to that next story, that dual timeline. Do you think that'll be out next year?
Not next year, no.
Not next year. Okay. Probably the year after. Okay. Well, we will definitely sign up for your newsletter so we can find out more about what's going on and when it releases. And Cheryl, thank you so much for joining me today to let us know about What the River Keeps and to tell us a little bit more about the Pacific Northwest. Those of us here dying of heat in the desert Southwest love hearing about it.
Well, if you're ever up this way, Ruth, we've got a place for you to stay, and you can explore and use our place as a base. So
Oh,
consider it an
absolutely.
open invitation.
Thank you. I might take you up on that. Well, thank you, Cheryl, for joining me today.
Thank you.
That was so fun to listen to Cheryl Bostrom talk about her new book, What the River Keeps. Oh, she has such a way of creating these layered characters and stories, and how she connects the setting to not just the characters, but the whole story. And so be sure and head over to Amazon to pre-order What the River Keeps. and sign up for her newsletter at CherylBostrom.com so that you can find out what the next book is titled and the cover reveal and everything. So be sure and contact her. Let her know what you think of her story. She would love to hear from you. And I hope that you've been encouraged to keep going on your writing journey because, like I always say, someone out there needs to read your story. And until next time, thanks for listening. God bless.